Hello everyone, this is Scott McMullen. I'm here with the Scenic Rivers Land Trust and we're walking the Bacon Ridge Natural Area. What is this exactly called, this area? I'm with Nina Fisher, the president of the Scenic Rivers Land Trust.
This is the Bacon Ridge Natural Area, and these are the trails put in by volunteers through Moore that run throughout the southern section of Bacon Ridge right now.
And what does Scenic Rivers Land Trust do?
Scenic Rivers Land Trust is a land conservation organization that preserves land throughout Anne Arundel County, and it does this through voluntary conservation easements with landowners who receive both tax benefits if they can take advantage of them, as well as with the Forest Conservation Act in place, they can maybe receive money for each acre of land they put under a conservation easement. But those lands have to have specific qualities.
Specific qualities, okay.
Like good environmental or good ecological value.
Forests, wetlands.
Yes, as Sarah says, who's up in front of the camera, we also need... it's hard to walk and think at the same time. Sarah, tell them what they need.
Sure. So, hello. So they'll need more of like forests and wetlands and intact like habitat. So they haven't been developed. So they're more of more of a scenic or a natural area versus like malls and stuff. Ooh, this is hard with 3 people.
Is there a walk for the woods coming up?
There is, but let me add one more thing to what
Sure.
Sarah said, and that is we like lands that are also close to other protected lands, so that you get a large area like Bacon Ridge Natural Area, which also has several private easements in the area, so that you get large contiguous areas of natural lands.
Okay.
Which is much better.
Okay. So how did you get into this, Miss Fisher, as the president of this distinguished body?
Pretty much I was arm twisted into it many years ago. A friend of mine, we had worked together at the Chesapeake Bay program many years ago.
Okay.
And she now works for Fish and Wildlife and was a past board member of Scenic Rivers. And she suggested that I might want to get involved, which I did. And one thing led to another, and somehow I became president.
And how long have you been, a part of this board?
7.5 years, I think.
7.5 years. Very nice.
Is that right? Something like that.
Sarah, we're checking on this.
Yeah,
I'm sure the audience wants to know exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so 6.5 years.
6.5 years. Okay, very good. Look at this nice area. So what phase is this called right here?
This is phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yes.
Phase 1.
This was originally put in a couple years ago, I believe. I came out and helped with the actual manual labor of putting this trail in. It was a huge volunteer effort. I think the first day I got here, there was something like well over 100 volunteers who were helping out. Or maybe that was the second day. But it was run on a bunch of different Sundays throughout the fall season. And a long section of trail was created by volunteers who were really interested in seeing biking and hiking trails in the county. So many people had to go to Patapsco or to Rosaryville to find a trail like this.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a great spot, and it's 10 minutes from Annapolis.
Not bad. Wait, so tell us, we have our big fundraiser coming up, Walk for the Woods, a big event. What day is that? What's that about?
It's April 27th. And it's in the middle section of Bacon Ridge, which is off of Farm Road. We can't normally access that section because it's cut off by the water treatment plant run by the Environmental Service. And so there are 3 locked gates to the entrance of Bacon Ridge at that point. And so once a year we get permission to open up those gates and have our annual walk. This is our 14th year. But Sarah's in charge of that, so I'll let her give a bit more detail.
Okay, we're going up here. This is the magic of video. There you go. So talk about Walk for the Woods.
So Walk for the Woods is an annual event every year, so about 300 people come. We have about 12 guided hikes that, bird experts and amphibian experts come and lead these hikes for anyone to join, and they're usually just, an hour or two long. And then if you don't want to go on a guided hike, or you went on a guided hike and you want to go on another one, still on the trails, you can just go walk the trails. And it's in the central part of Bacon Ridge, not the southern part.
Can normal people walk in this area all the time, or is this no, this is very special? Okay.
Yeah, so you can only do this one day of the year.
Okay.
It's slowly being opened up.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not really accessible to the general public, at least very easily.
Oh, okay.
You can also bring your dog on a leash after 10 o'clock in the morning. We want to make sure that the birders' hikes are not disturbed by dogs that are barking or chasing animals.
Okay. Now, I hear, are you a ping pong player sometimes, Nina?
Absolutely. Well, maybe once a year.
Once a year?
At a party.
Did you play me and lose in ping pong at one time?
I did play you once. I think it was a shutout.
I think it was a shutout. I'm just kidding.
I was not
No, you were pretty good. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Thanks.
You're good. So, excellent. Miss Niebel, what else is...
Yes.
Tell us about our executive director, Mr. Rick Leader. What's his vision here for the Scenic Rivers Land Trust and all that fun stuff?
So his vision is to protect a lot of land in Anne Arundel County.
Okay.
So trying to preserve the greenways, or a lot of, we focus more on forests because there's so many great agricultural preservation programs that the county runs. So we kind of fill in the gaps in between. So we're trying to focus more on like the interconnected forests that are left in Anne Arundel County and protect those private properties with easements, so the landowner doesn't have to sell their land, they just kind of protect it with this easement with us. And that's kind of what is one of his big visions.
Why is it called Scenic Rivers Land Trust? I mean, why, what's the connection between rivers and land?
So we originally it was called Scenic River Land Trust when it was started, and then we merged with another land trust south of here, and so then we had to come up with another name because we just weren't in the the Severn River watershed anymore. And Anne Arundel County has so many rivers, so one of the focuses of the land trust is to protect the health and the scenery of those rivers, since the county has so many of them. So whatever you do on the land ends up affecting the water. So
why don't you drink coffee?
Because I feel like I'm gonna die when I do.
This is 8 a.m. in the morning, and Sarah is coming from the big city, and she's nice enough to come here and meet with us in the morning.
Oh, well,
and
it's on my way to work.
but now she's awake.
Yes.
But now she's awake. Very good. Well, this is just a beautiful area. This is really nice. It's just fun. I feel like we're lucky too with the weather.
Yeah, for an 8 a.m. hike, I was afraid that it was going to be like
cold.
35 degrees.
Yeah.
Like it was last week. But it's almost 60 right now.
I know.
Which is superb because I don't like hiking. I don't like being outside of the cold.
You don't like land? That's like counter to.
No,
I'm
I
just
don't
kidding.
like being cold.
Okay, I know.
This area is a little bit. This is the part of the trail that's closest to 97, so it's a little bit noisy here. But most of the trail, you don't hear this kind of background noise.
Yeah. Why is it called Bacon Ridge?
Well, no one quite knows. So this was, people have been living here since 1600s.
Yeah.
And it started being, like, the river that runs through it started being called Bacon Ridge Branch, like in the 1800s, on like USGS maps. And so folklore has it, there's no historical reason, but folklore has it that there was a huge pork farm almost in the center of Bacon Ridge area, and so it started getting called Bacon Ridge that way.
I got a brilliant, for the walk for the woods, should we have bacon for everyone? Would that help?
Oh,
that's my idea.
I would love that.
Yes.
We do
should
have
bacon.
donuts for everyone.
Okay.
And apples.
And
bananas and coffee.
And coffee supported.
So there's free coffee for anyone who comes to this free event.
And do we have peanut butter too? What kind of peanut
I
butter
usually
should we have?
Peanut butter, the kind that separates.
Separates.
Yeah.
The organic. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I give Nina a hard time about organic peanut butter. Very good.
The kind that doesn't have hydrogenated oils.
You know what's crazy? So I looked at a new Skippy. So I got in trouble for having Skippy peanut butter one year.
Big trouble.
Big trouble. And because I didn't know what other type of peanut butter to buy. And now it's like peanuts, sugar, and like salt.
Okay.
It's changed.
2 of those 3 ingredients are okay. There's no need to put sugar in your peanut butter.
It tastes good.
Well, you could add jelly to your sandwich.
What's a little more sugar if you already have jelly?
Nina, I would describe you as a super runner. Could you give us your running background a little bit? You're part of the Annapolis Running Club.
The Annapolis Striders.
Striders, yes.
Well, I started running when I turned 50.
Okay.
Mostly
Which was last week.
I wish, but no.
Okay.
And mostly it's because I played team sports all my life, and my knees had been compromised and operated on several times, and they didn't like pivoting anymore, so I started running in a straight line worked, whereas changing direction quickly did not. So I got tired of watching my husband be in races and decided to move from being a spectator to being a participant.
Gotcha.
So I run a fair amount now.
Do you trail run at all? You're always
I do trail run.
okay.
One of my,
Earlier.
yeah, let's look at the cars and then
Okay,
I'll,
we're looking at the cars. Okay.
then I'll move on to my
Okay.
nickname.
Your nickname. Okay.
Wow, this has moved some since I was last year. It seems like it's further downhill.
So what do we call this? The car graveyard? Yeah.
And I'd love for somebody to identify the year and make and model of these cars.
Apparently they're Mercuries and Chevys.
They're Mercuries and Chevys?
Yeah, Mercuries. I was told on my last hike that I led here that they're Mercuries and Chevy cars. Probably from the 1950s and 60s.
That's what I was guessing, but I didn't know if
Yeah.
there was a... We should also show that car
yeah.
over there because it's been there so long that the trees are actually crushing it. It's a slow crush machine.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Sarah, could you say your name? Nina, say your name. What were we talking about? So we're talking about a ceremony at the Walk for the Woods fundraiser that we have. And why is it called Say Your Name? Tell us a little bit about that, Miss Nebel.
So the Crownsville Hospital has a very dark history, and they also had a graveyard, which is now right on the edge of Bacon Ridge, and which is kind of part of the area where we hold Walk for the Woods. So the local historian Janice Hayes Williams has done a lot of research on who is buried in that graveyard, and the reason why she had to do a lot of research was the gravestones are just really small and they just have a number on them. And so she had to go do a bunch of research to figure out who was buried with what number gravestone. So every year at Walk for the Woods, she does a very touching ceremony for remembering who was buried at that graveyard.
Very cool.
And she can tell you, she'll have a kind of like a little display of telling you what the conditions were of the hospital, which were pretty poor.
Who was buried at that graveyard?
The patients from the hospital. So it was originally called the Hospital for the Negro Insane. So it was a lot of mental health patients, and a lot of them were kind of incarcerated there or committed there. So
I love how we're just walking into the trees.
I keep doing that. So, you know, it was pretty bad back in the 40s and 50s of what the conditions were for the patients there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Very good.
And County Executive Pittman should be coming to that ceremony.
So County Executive Pitt Stewart will be there. Very cool.
That's the plan. That's
I believe
what
he
I've
was
heard
there last year as a
was.
candidate.
He was.
Yes. Hi, Sarah. Tell us about John Hudson and his memorial behind us.
So John Hudson worked for the Maryland Environmental Trust for decades, I think over 20 years, and he wrote dozens and dozens of easements to protect hundreds and hundreds and I think thousands of acres of land in Maryland. And then he also worked for Scenic Rivers Land Trust for about a year. At the end of his life, he succumbed to lung cancer at the very end. So he was friends with everybody in the land trust community. Everyone respected him for his knowledge of easements and how to protect land. And so we wanted to memorialize him because he helped write the easement for Bacon Ridge. So we just wanted a little memory.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys for coming. I think we had a fun walk in the woods, for the woods,
Yes.
to talk about the upcoming Walk for the Woods, and hope to have more of these interviews in the upcoming future. Have a good day.
Thanks.